The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was the largest room Yuna had ever seen. It stretched so far that she could not see the walls on either side. Thousands of alien species sat in floating chairs that rose high into the darkness above. Strange lights floated everywhere, and the air smelled like metal and flowers mixed together. Yuna stood alone on a small platform in the center of this massive room. She was the first human to ever stand here. Behind her, far away through many doors and hallways, her small ship waited. It was the only human ship in this part of space. Earth was very far away. She took a deep breath and looked at the beings around her. Some had scales, some had fur. Some looked like nothing she could describe with words. They all watched her with eyes that showed no warmth, no welcome, only cold curiosity. "I am Ambassador Yuna of Earth," she said. Her voice was carried by machines to every corner of the room. "I come in peace. I come with open hands and an open heart." A sound filled the hall. It took Yuna a moment to understand what it was. Laughter. They were laughing at her. One alien floated down from the high seats. He was tall and thin, with skin the color of dark blue water. His eyes had no pupils, just solid white orbs that seemed to glow. This was High Speaker Vorn, the leader of the Galactic Council. "Peace," Vorn said. His voice was smooth like silk, but cold like ice. "The humans speak of peace. How touching. How sweet." More laughter filled the hall. Yuna did not let her face show any emotion. She had been trained for this. Earth had spent 50 years preparing for this moment. 50 years since they discovered they were not alone in the universe. 50 years of watching alien ships pass through their solar system without stopping. 50 years of being ignored. Now, finally, humanity had built ships that could travel between stars. They had found the Galactic Council, and they had come with hope. "We offer friendship," Yuna said, keeping her voice steady. "Earth has much to share. We have art. We have music. We have stories that span 10,000 years. We have medicine that can cure diseases. We have engineers who can build anything." "And what do you want in return?" Vorn asked. His white eyes seemed to look right through her. "Only to be part of the galactic community, to trade, to learn, to grow together." Vorn made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You are a young species. Your planet has only had space travel for 200 years. We have been traveling the stars for 50,000 years. What could you possibly offer us?" Yuna reached into her bag and pulled out a small device. She pressed a button, and light filled the air above her. Images appeared. Beautiful images. She showed them Earth's mountains and oceans. She showed them children playing in parks. She showed them paintings by old masters and music that made souls cry with joy. She showed them humans helping each other after disasters. She showed them scientists working to cure diseases. She showed them the best of humanity. "This is who we are," Yuna said. "We are not perfect. We have made mistakes. We have fought wars among ourselves. But we have also learned. We have grown. We believe that all thinking beings should help each other. We believe in kindness." The hall was quiet for a moment. Yuna felt a tiny spark of hope. Then Vorn spoke again. "You are weak. In this galaxy, the weak do not survive. They serve, or they die." "We do not wish to be weak or strong," Yuna replied. "We wish to be friends." "Friends?" Another alien spoke now. This one was massive, with 4 arms and skin like rock. His name was General Krath, leader of the military forces of the Alliance. "In 10,000 years, I have never heard such a foolish word. There are no friends in space. There are only masters and slaves." Yuna felt her heart beating fast, but she kept her voice calm. "On Earth, we have learned that cooperation is stronger than competition. Nations that work together grow rich and happy. Nations that fight destroy themselves." "Then Earth is a planet of fools," Krath said. "And fools do not last long in this galaxy." The laughter came again, louder this time. Yuna waited until it stopped. Then she spoke again. "Despite your words, we still offer peace. We still offer friendship. We have brought gifts." She waved her hand, and more images appeared. These showed technology, clean energy systems, medical machines, farming equipment that could grow food in any soil. "These are our gifts to the Council," Yuna said. "We ask for nothing in return. We give them freely, as a sign of our good intentions." For a moment, the aliens looked interested. They studied the images carefully. Yuna knew that some of this technology was new even to them. Humans were young, yes, but they were creative. They solved problems in ways that older species never thought of. Vorn floated closer to Yuna. His white eyes examined her face. "You would give us this technology for free? No conditions? No demands?" "None," Yuna said. "We believe that helping others is its own reward." Vorn was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of someone who saw a small animal walking into a trap. "Very well," he said. "We accept your gifts. You may return to your ship now. The Council will discuss whether to allow humans to join the galactic community." Yuna bowed her head. "Thank you, High Speaker. I hope this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." She turned and walked back across the long platform. Her footsteps echoed in the massive hall. Behind her, she could hear the aliens talking in their strange languages. She did not understand the words, but she understood the tone. They were mocking her, mocking Earth, mocking all of humanity. But Yuna kept walking. She had done what she came to do. She had offered peace. She had offered friendship. She had shown the galaxy that humans were not enemies. Back on her ship, her crew was waiting. Lieutenant Junho looked at her with worried eyes. "How did it go? How did it go?" Yuna sat down heavily in her chair. "They laughed at us. They called us weak. They called us fools. Did they accept our gifts?" "Yes. They took everything we offered." Junho frowned. "And gave nothing in return?" "Nothing." The ship was quiet for a moment. Then Pilot Somi spoke from her seat. "What do we do now?" Yuna looked out the window at the massive space station that held the Galactic Council. It glittered with lights from 1,000 different worlds. So much power. So much history, and all of it looking down on Earth like it was nothing. "We go home," Yuna said. "We tell Earth what happened. And we keep trying. We keep offering peace. Again. And again. Until they accept it." "And if they never accept it?" Junho asked. Yuna did not answer. She did not want to think about that possibility. Earth had left its violent past behind. Humans no longer fought wars among themselves. They had learned to live in peace. The idea of fighting against alien species was unthinkable. But somewhere deep in her heart, in a place she did not want to look, Yuna felt a cold feeling. A warning. A whisper from ancestors who had survived ice ages and plagues and wars. A whisper that said, "Be careful. Not everyone wants peace. Some only understand strength." She pushed the feeling away. Earth would show the galaxy a better way. Kindness would win. Love would triumph over hate. It had to. The ship turned toward home. Behind them, the lights of the Galactic Council grew smaller and smaller, until they disappeared among the stars. Yuna closed her eyes and thought of Earth. Green forests, blue oceans, children laughing, old people telling stories. All the beauty of humanity, all the hope. She would protect that hope. She would keep trying for peace, no matter how many times they laughed at her. But the cold feeling in her heart did not go away. It stayed there, quiet and patient, waiting for the day when peace would no longer be enough. That day was coming. Yuna did not know it yet, but the stars knew. The dark spaces between worlds knew. War was coming to humanity, whether they wanted it or not. And when it came, the galaxy would learn why Earth's history was written in blood. Admiral Jinho was drinking tea when the first message came. He sat in his office on Earth's moon base, looking out the window at the blue planet below. It was a peaceful morning, the kind of morning that made him grateful to be alive. Then his communication screen lit up with red warnings. He set down his tea and touched the screen. The face of a young officer appeared. Her eyes were wide with fear. Her voice shook when she spoke. "Admiral, we have received a distress signal from New Sol Colony. They are under attack." Jinho felt his blood turn cold. "Under attack? By whom?" "Unknown ships, sir. Hundreds of them. They came out of nowhere and started firing on the city. Get me a visual." The screen changed to show images from New Sol. What Jinho saw made his heart stop. The colony was burning. New Sol was home to 3 million people. It was humanity's first colony outside the solar system, built on a beautiful world with green forests and clean rivers. Humans had lived there for 60 years. They had built homes, schools, hospitals, a whole civilization. Now, it was all on fire. The alien ships looked like black insects. They flew over the city and dropped bombs that exploded in waves of purple light. Buildings fell. People ran through the streets, screaming. Some tried to fight back with small weapons, but the alien ships were too strong, too fast. Jinho watched as a hospital collapsed. He watched as a school burned. He watched as men, women, and children died. "Admiral?" The young officer's voice was barely a whisper. "What do we do?" Jinho could not speak. He had never seen anything like this. Earth had been at peace for 200 years. There had been no wars since humanity united under one government. Violence was something from history books, from old stories that grandparents told. But this was real. This was happening now. He forced himself to breathe. "Contact all military bases. Tell them to prepare for possible attack. And send help to New Sol immediately. Sir, our nearest ships are 3 days away." "Then tell them to hurry." But Jinho knew it would not matter. 3 days was too long. New Sol would be gone by then. Over the next hour, more messages came. Each one was worse than the last. Busan Station, a mining colony in an asteroid field, had been destroyed. All 10,000 workers were dead. Jeju World, a farming planet that fed millions of humans, was under attack. The aliens were burning the crops and killing everyone they found. Daegu Outpost, a small research station, had stopped responding. When a rescue ship finally arrived, they found only bodies. Jinho stood in front of a large map that showed all of human space. Red dots appeared on the map, one after another. Each dot was an attack. Each dot was death. By the end of the day, 3 colonies were gone. 7 million humans were dead or dying. And then the message came. It was from High Speaker Vorn of the Galactic Council. His blue face appeared on every screen on Earth. His white eyes looked at humanity with cold amusement. "People of Earth," Vorn said, "you have received our message. Your colonies are burning. Your people are dying. This is what happens to species who do not know their place." Jinho watched with fists so tight that his fingernails cut into his palms. "You came to us with talk of peace and friendship," Vorn continued. "You gave us gifts like beggars hoping for scraps. Did you think we would accept you as equals? Did you think we would let you join our community? You are nothing. You are insects, and insects must learn to bow before their masters." The screen showed images of the attacks. Ships with the symbols of the Galactic Alliance. Ships from the same species who had sat in the council hall and laughed at Ambassador Yuna. "Surrender now," Vorn said. "Become servants of the Alliance. Work for us. Obey us. And perhaps we will let some of you live. Refuse. And we will burn every human world. We will hunt your species until none remain. You have 1 week to decide." The message ended. Jinho stood in silence. Around him, officers and workers were crying. Some were screaming. Some sat in shock, unable to move or speak. Earth had tried so hard to be peaceful. For 200 years, humans had worked to end violence. They had closed their weapons factories. They had turned their military into a small defensive force. They had believed that kindness and cooperation were the only way forward. And now this. Jinho thought of his daughter, Mina. She was 7 years old. She lived on Earth with her mother. Last week, She had asked him if there were monsters in space. He had laughed and told her no. Space was full of wonders, he said, full of friends waiting to meet them. He had lied to her. There were monsters, and they had just killed 7 million people. His communication screen beeped. It was a call from Earth's president, Admiral Jinho, President Park said. Her face was pale, her eyes red from crying. I need you to come to Earth immediately. We must decide what to do. Yes, President. Admiral, is there any way we can fight back? Jinho thought for a moment. Earth's military was small. Their ships were built for exploration and defense, not war. They had some weapons, but nothing compared to the Alliance fleet. I don't know, he said honestly. We have never prepared for something like this. Then find a way, President Park said. Because I will not let our species become slaves. I will not surrender our children to these monsters. The call ended. Jinho looked out the window at Earth one more time. The blue planet floated in space, beautiful and peaceful. His home. The home of all humanity. The aliens thought humans were weak. They thought 200 years of peace had made humanity soft. They expected easy victory, quick surrender. They did not know about human history. They did not know about the wars humanity had fought among themselves, the terrible weapons they had created, the darkness that lived in human hearts. For 200 years, humans had kept that darkness locked away. They had promised each other, never again. No more war, no more killing, no more hate. But now enemies had come, enemies who killed children, enemies who burned homes, enemies who laughed at peace and friendship. Jinho felt something change inside him. The peaceful admiral who had spent his career exploring stars began to disappear. In his place, something older woke up. Something his ancestors had known well. The warrior. He walked to his desk and opened a locked drawer. Inside was a file that every admiral kept but hoped to never use. It was called the Dark Archive. Inside were designs for weapons that humanity had created long ago. During their violent past, weapons so terrible that they had been banned, hidden, forgotten. Jinho opened the file and began to read. Outside his window, the stars continued to shine. They did not know that everything was about to change. They did not know that the galaxy's greatest mistake had just been made. The Galactic Alliance had attacked Earth, and Earth was about to remember how to fight back. In homes across human space, people were crying. They were scared. They were angry. But underneath the fear and anger, something else was growing. Something that connected them all, a feeling that spread from person to person like fire. They had tried peace. They had offered friendship. They had given gifts and asked for nothing, and the galaxy had responded with death. Now it was time for humanity to respond. Not with peace, not with surrender, with something the galaxy had never seen before, the full strength of human will. The war was just beginning. Captain Hana stood on the bridge of the warship Fury and looked at the fleet gathering around her. 1 week ago, humanity had only 30 military ships. Now there were over 200, and more were being built every day. Earth had awakened. Across the planet, factories that had made farming equipment now made weapons. Laboratories that had studied medicine now designed shields and bombs. Every human who could work was working. Every mind that could think was thinking about one thing: survival. But Hana knew that ships alone would not be enough. The Galactic Alliance had thousands of warships. They had been fighting wars for 50,000 years. Their weapons were advanced. Their soldiers were trained. Humanity could not defeat them with normal means. That is why Hana was flying to a secret moon base that did not officially exist. The base was hidden inside a dead moon at the edge of human space. Its name was Ghost Station. For 200 years, it had been sealed and forgotten. Only a few people knew it was there, the place where humanity had locked away its darkest secrets. Hana's ship docked at the station. The airlock opened with a hiss of old air. Dust floated in the dim lights. No one had walked these halls in generations. A man was waiting for her. He was old, with white hair and kind eyes. His name was Dr. Tejo. And he was the last person alive who knew what was hidden in Ghost Station. "Captain Hana," Teho said. His voice was soft and sad. "I hoped this day would never come." Teho. Teho. "So did we all," Hana replied. "But the enemy has forced our hand. We need what is here." Teho nodded slowly. "Follow me." They walked through dark hallways. Teho touched control panels, and lights came on for the first time in 2 centuries. The walls were covered with warning signs. "Danger. Forbidden. Do not open." Before humanity became peaceful, Teho said as they walked, "we were the most violent species on our planet. We fought wars for thousands of years. We created weapons that could destroy cities in seconds, weapons that could poison land for generations, weapons that turned humans into monsters." Hana had read about this in history books. The old wars, the nuclear bombs, the biological weapons, the terrible things humans had done to each other. When humanity finally found peace, Teho continued, our leaders decided to hide all of this knowledge. They built Ghost Station and stored everything here. The weapons, the plans, the research. They hoped it would never be needed again, but they did not destroy it, Hana said. No. Because they knew something that the peaceful generations forgot. Sometimes, the only way to protect those you love is to become the thing your enemies fear. They reached a massive door. Teho put his hand on a scanner. The door opened slowly, revealing a room so large that Hana could not see its end. Inside were weapons, thousands of them, missiles that could crack planets, bombs that could eat through any metal, machines that could create earthquakes, ships designed only for killing. Every terrible thing humanity had ever invented was here, preserved and waiting. Hana felt sick looking at it. She was a soldier, yes, but she had never imagined such destruction. These weapons were not meant for battle. They were meant for extinction. There is more, Teho said. He led her to another section of the room. Here, there were no weapons. Instead, there were tubes filled with strange liquid. Inside the tubes floated small objects that looked like seeds. What are these? Hana asked. Our ancestors called them berserker seeds. They are nanomachines. Tiny robots, smaller than dust. When injected into a human body, they make the person stronger, faster, harder to kill. They remove fear. They remove hesitation. They turn ordinary humans into perfect soldiers. Hana stared at the tubes. And the cost? Teho's eyes grew sad. The nanomachines change the brain. People who use them become different. They can fight better than any normal human. But they lose something. Their gentleness, their mercy. Some lose themselves completely. Then we cannot use them. I hope we do not have to. But the option is here. If the war goes badly, they continued through Ghost Station. Teho showed Hana everything. Weapons that used black holes. Ships that could become invisible. Bombs that could destroy all life on a planet but leave the building standing. Each creation was more terrible than the last. Finally, they reached the deepest part of the station. Here, there was only one object. It sat in the center of a room, surrounded by shields and warnings. It was a small black box, no bigger than a book. This is the most dangerous thing humanity ever created, Teho said. His voice was barely a whisper. We called it the final answer. What does it do? If activated, it will send a signal across all of space. That signal will reach every system, every planet, every ship in the galaxy. And then, everything with a computer will stop working. Every machine will die, forever. Hana felt cold. That would destroy all technology everywhere, including ours. Yes, it would send the entire galaxy back to the beginning. No more starships. No more space stations. Every species would be trapped on their home worlds. It would take thousands of years to rebuild. Why would anyone create such a thing? Teho looked at her with ancient eyes. Because if humanity ever faced extinction, we wanted one final weapon, a way to make sure that whoever killed us would never enjoy their victory. If we died, the galaxy would die with us. Hana stepped back from the black box. The idea was horrible, but she understood it. If someone was going to kill your children, your family, your entire species, you would want them to pay, even if it cost everything. I do not think we will need that, she said. Not yet. I pray you are right. They left Ghost Station together. Hana's ship was now loaded with weapons and designs that would change human military power forever. Things that had been forbidden were now necessary. On the journey back to Earth, Hana thought about what she had seen. Humanity had worked so hard to become peaceful. To leave behind the violence of their past, they had built a beautiful civilization based on cooperation and kindness. And now they had to become warriors again. When she arrived at Earth, Admiral Jinho was waiting for her. His face was hard, his eyes determined. The peaceful admiral she had known was gone. In his place was a general, preparing for war. What did you find? He asked. Everything, Hana replied. Enough weapons to fight back. Enough knowledge to make the Alliance regret what they started. Good. Because while you were gone, we received word. The Alliance fleet is gathering. They plan to attack Earth itself within 3 months. Within 3 months. Not much time to prepare. But Hana thought of Ghost Station, filled with humanity's terrible creations. 3 months might be enough. We need soldiers, she said. Ships and weapons are nothing without people to use them. The call has gone out. Every human who can fight is volunteering. We have more soldiers than we can train. Hana nodded. That was good. But soldiers needed more than weapons. They needed something to fight for. They needed hope. The people are scared, she said. They have never known war. They do not know if we can win. Jinho put his hand on her shoulder. Then, we will show them. We will take the fight to the enemy before they come to us. We will show the Alliance that humans are not easy prey. And we will show our people that we can win. Where do we start? Jinho smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had found its prey. The Alliance has a supply station 3 days from here. It feeds their fleet near our space. We are going to destroy it. Hana felt something stir inside her. Not fear, not hesitation. Something darker. Something her ancestors had felt before every battle. The hunger for victory. When do we leave? She asked. Tomorrow. Gather your crews, choose your ships, and prepare yourself, Captain. By this time next week, the galaxy will know that humanity fights back. Hana saluted and walked away. Behind her, she could hear Jinho giving orders. Ships were moving. Soldiers were training. Weapons were being loaded. The war was about to begin for real. And humanity was ready to show the galaxy why Earth's history was written in blood. Commander Wujin had never killed anyone before today. Now he had lost count. His ship, the Iron Wolf, cut through space at impossible speed. Around him, 60 human warships moved in perfect formation. Below them, the Alliance supply station burned. The attack had been quick and brutal. The Alliance had expected humans to run, to hide, to beg for mercy. Instead, humans had come to them. And humans had brought death. Wu Jin watched the station break apart on his screen. Explosions bloomed like flowers of light. Alien ships tried to escape, but human missiles found them one by one. In 30 minutes, the battle was over. The Alliance had lost 200 ships and their main supply line in human space. Humanity had lost 4 ships. Commander, his weapons officer said. Alliance survivors are sending distress signals. They are asking for help. Finally created, Wu Jin thought for a moment. Part of him, the part that remembered the peaceful world he grew up in, wanted to show mercy, to rescue the survivors, to prove that humans were better than their enemies. But then he remembered New Seoul, the burning hospitals, the screaming children, the 7 million dead in one day. Ignore them, he said. "We have more targets to hit." His fleet turned and flew deeper into Alliance space. Over the next 2 months, human ships appeared everywhere. They struck without warning and disappeared before help could arrive. Supply stations, communication towers, mining colonies, military bases, nothing was safe from human attacks. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Other species watched in shock as the weak humans tore through Alliance defenses. How was this possible? How could a species so young, so inexperienced in war, fight like this? They did not understand. They had never studied human history. They did not know about the wars that humans had fought among themselves, the strategies that had been developed over thousands of years. The ability to adapt, to change, to never give up. Humans were not good at peace because they were weak. They were good at peace because they had been so very good at war. And now, with no other choice, they remembered those skills. General Krath of the Alliance slammed his 4 fists against his desk. "How is this happening? They are primitives. They should have surrendered weeks ago." His advisors had no answers. Every report was the same. Human ships were faster than expected. Human weapons were stronger than expected. Human soldiers fought with a desperation that bordered on madness. "They are not fighting to win," one advisor said. "They are fighting like they have nothing to lose." "Everyone has something to lose," Krath growled. "Not them, not anymore. They believe we will kill them all even if they surrender. So they fight. Every ship, every soldier, to the death." Krath did not understand. In 10,000 years of war, he had conquered hundreds of species. Most surrendered quickly. Those who fought were defeated easily. No species had ever pushed back like this. "Send more ships," he ordered. "Crush them with numbers." But numbers were becoming a problem. The Alliance was large, but it had many enemies. Ships that had been guarding other borders were needed against the humans. Other species, seeing the Alliance struggle, began to cause trouble, and still the humans came. Commander Wujin led his fleet against a major Alliance military base. This time, the enemy was ready. 200 Alliance warships waited for them. Wujin had only 80 ships. "Commander!" Captain Hannah's voice came through the radio. She flew beside him in her ship, the Fury. "The odds are bad. Should we retreat?" Wujin looked at the enemy fleet on his screen. Each ship was larger than his. Each ship had more weapons. Logic said to run, but logic had not saved New Seoul. Logic had not protected their children. Sometimes, winning required doing things that logic said were impossible. "No retreat," Wujin said. "All ships. Attack pattern dragon. Hit them hard. Hit them fast. Do not stop until they are all burning." The human fleet surged forward. What happened next would be talked about across the galaxy for generations. Human ships dove into the Alliance formation like wolves into sheep. They moved in ways that seemed impossible, changing direction instantly, spinning and firing in all directions at once. Pilots pushed their ships beyond safe limits, beyond sane limits, because they simply did not care about survival. They cared only about victory. Alliance ships tried to respond, but they were slow. Careful. Their pilots followed rules and procedures that had worked for thousands of years. Humans had no such rules. They improvised. They adapted. They did whatever it took to win. One human ship, its engines damaged and burning, flew directly into an Alliance carrier. The pilot could have ejected, could have surrendered. Instead, he aimed his dying ship at the enemy's reactor and gave his life to take 100 enemies with him. Another human ship, surrounded and outgunned, released all its missiles at once. Not at the enemy ships, but at the empty space behind them. The Alliance ships turned to avoid the missiles, and in that moment of confusion, human reinforcements dropped out of faster-than-light travel right in the middle of the enemy formation. It was chaos. It was madness. It was war the way humans had always fought it. Not with careful plans and superior numbers, but with creativity and sacrifice and absolute refusal to quit. When the battle ended, 160 Alliance ships were destroyed. The humans had lost 32. Woojin looked at his screen. Victory. Again, but there was no celebration on the bridge. 32 ships meant thousands of dead humans, friends, family, good people who would never go home. Send rescue teams for survivors, Woojin ordered. And prepare the fleet. We push forward. Sir, the crews are exhausted. We have been fighting for 2 months without rest. I know. But we cannot stop. Every day we fight is a day Earth stays free. Every base we destroy is a weapon that cannot be used against our children. We rest when the war is over. The fleet moved on. Across human space, the story was the same. Every ship fought. Every soldier gave everything. Old people who had lived their whole lives in peace learned to use weapons. Children too young for battle helped build ships and bandages and anything else that was needed. Everyone contributed. Everyone sacrificed. The Alliance began to feel something they had not felt in a very long time. Fear. High Speaker Vorn looked at the reports and felt his white eyes grow dim. The war that was supposed to take 1 week had lasted 3 months. The humans that were supposed to surrender had destroyed a quarter of the Alliance fleet. The easy victory had become a nightmare. How do we stop them? Vorn asked his generals. No one had an answer. On a small moon far from the front lines, Woojin finally allowed his fleet to rest. His ships needed repairs. His crews needed sleep. He needed sleep. He sat alone in his quarters and looked at a photo. It showed a woman and 2 young children. His wife, Unji. His daughters, Nari and Bora. They were safe on Earth, waiting for him. He had not spoken to them in weeks. There was no time, no energy. Every moment was filled with battle, and blood, and death, but he fought for them. Every enemy he killed was one less threat to his family. Every battle he won brought them closer to safety. His door opened. Captain Hana walked in. You should be sleeping, she said. So should you. She sat down across from him. I just received word from Earth. The Alliance is gathering their main fleet. They plan to attack our home world directly. Woojin felt his stomach drop. How many ships? Over 1,000. And how many do we have? After 3 months of fighting? Maybe 300. The numbers were impossible. They had won battles, yes, but they could not win against such odds. Not even human courage could overcome 3-to-1 disadvantage. What do we do? Hana asked. Woojin looked at the photo of his family again. Then he looked at Hana. She was tired, scared. But underneath, he saw the same fire that burned in his own heart. We do what humans have always done, he said. We fight. We survive. And if we cannot win, we make sure the enemy never forgets the price of attacking Earth. Hana nodded. To the end? To the end. Outside, the stars continued to shine. They had seen many wars, many species rise and fall. But they had never seen anything like humanity. The storm was coming to Earth, and humanity was ready to meet it. General Minji stood on the bridge of the flagship Hope's End and watched Earth grow larger on the screen. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds, the most beautiful planet in the universe. Behind her ship, the remaining human fleet waited. 287 warships, the last defenders of humanity. Everything they had left, coming toward them, blocking out the stars, was the Alliance Armada. 1,200 ships, the largest fleet ever assembled in the galaxy. Enough firepower to destroy every human world 10 times over. High Speaker Vorn had come personally to watch humanity die. General, her communications officer said, the Alliance is sending a message. Put it through. Vorn's blue face appeared on the screen. His white eyes glowed with satisfaction. General Minji, I see you have gathered your last ships for a final stand. How touching. How pointless. Minji looked at him without fear. 3 months ago, she had been a logistics officer. She had never commanded anything larger than a supply convoy. But war had changed her. War had changed all of them. "Hi, Speaker Vorn," she said. "You made a mistake coming here." Vorn laughed. "A mistake? I have 4 ships for every one of yours. This battle was decided before it began." "You are right. This battle was decided, but not in your favor." Vorn's laughter stopped. "What do you mean?" Minji smiled. It was the smile that humans gave when they knew something their enemies did not. "For 3 months, your ships have been chasing ours across space. You have followed us everywhere, into every system, through every gate. You have been so focused on catching us that you never asked a simple question." "What question?" "Where were we leading you?" Vorn's face changed. Doubt crept into his white eyes for the first time. "While you chased our fleet," Minji continued, "our engineers were not sleeping. They were building, planning, preparing. Every system you passed through, every gate you flew through, they left something behind." She touched a button on her console. All around the battlefield, hidden devices activated. Thousands of them. Some were on asteroids. Some floated in empty space. Some were attached to Alliance ships without their crews knowing. They were bombs. Not ordinary bombs. These were weapons from Ghost Station. Gravity bombs that created tiny black holes. Acid bombs that ate through any metal. Pulse bombs that destroyed all electronics in a massive range. The Alliance fleet had flown into a trap. Explosions filled the sky. Alliance ships disappeared by the dozens. Carriers that had survived 1,000 battles broke apart in seconds. The formation that was supposed to crush Earth fell into chaos. But Vorn was smart. He recovered quickly. "All ships, retreat to safe distance. Regroup," and he stopped. Because there was nowhere to retreat to, human ships appeared behind the Alliance fleet. Ships that had been hiding in the asteroid belt. Ships that had painted themselves black and drifted in space like dead rocks. Ships filled with more of those terrible human weapons. The trap was complete. "You came to destroy us," Minji said. "You came with overwhelming force, expecting easy victory. You forgot something important. Vorn, humans do not just fight fair. When our survival is at stake, we fight to win. By any means necessary." The battle began. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. Alliance ships, damaged and confused, tried to fight back. But human ships cut through them without mercy. Weapons that the galaxy had never seen tore through alien hulls. Human pilots, fighting for their home, their families, their species, pushed beyond all limits. Commander Wujin led his squadron against the Alliance flagship. His weapons were almost empty, his ship was damaged, but he did not stop. He could not stop. Not when Earth hung in the balance. Captain Hana flew beside him. "Commander, their shields are still up. Our weapons cannot break through." Wujin looked at the massive flagship. Vorn was on that ship, the being who had ordered the destruction of New Sol, the being who had laughed at Ambassador Yuna, the being who wanted to make humanity into slaves. "Then we go through the shields ourselves," Wujin said. "That is suicide." "No, that is victory." He turned his ship toward the flagship. Other human ships followed. They flew directly at the shields, not firing, just flying. The shields held against weapons, but they could not hold against matter. That was their weakness. A weakness human engineers had discovered after months of study. Wujin's ship hit the shield and passed through. The energy burned his hull, melted his weapons, destroyed half his systems. But he made it through. His ship, burning and dying, crashed into the flagship's bridge. The explosion killed Vorn instantly. With their leader dead, the Alliance fleet broke. Ships tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Human forces surrounded them on all sides. Surrender messages filled the communication channels, but for a long moment, no one answered. Minji watched the chaos on her screen. They had won. Against impossible odds, they had won. But victory felt empty. So many humans had died. So many sacrifices had been made. Wujin was gone. Thousands of others were gone. The price of survival had been paid in blood. "General," her officer said. The Alliance ships are surrendering. What are your orders? Minji thought about Vorn's words. About the Laughing Council. About the burned colonies and the dead children. Part of her wanted revenge, wanted to destroy every Alliance ship, every Alliance world, until nothing remained. But that was not who humans were. That was not why they had fought. Accept their surrender, she said. Take prisoners. Treat them with respect. General, they killed millions of our people. Yes. And we have killed millions of theirs. The cycle must end somewhere. Let it end with us. The battle was over. The war was over. Humanity had won. 3 days later, Minji walked through the ruined halls of the Galactic Council. The building had not been damaged in the fighting. The Alliance had surrendered before human ships reached the Council world, but it looked ruined anyway, empty, abandoned. The species that had laughed at humanity were gone. Some had fled, some were hiding. All were afraid. General Krath waited for her in the council chamber. The four-armed warrior who had called humans weak and foolish knelt before her now. His rocky face showed no expression, but his eyes held fear. General Minji, he said, we ask for mercy. Minji looked around the empty chamber. Once, thousands of aliens had filled this room. Once, Ambassador Yuna had stood here alone, offering peace. They had laughed at her. You ask for mercy, Minji said. The same mercy you showed our colonies? The same mercy you showed our children? Krath lowered his head. We were wrong. We underestimated you. We thought you were weak. We tried to be peaceful. We offered friendship. We gave gifts. And you responded with murder. I know. And I know that nothing can excuse what we did. But I ask you, General, do not do to us what we planned to do to you. Do not become the monsters we thought you were. Minji was quiet for a long moment. She thought about New Soul, about Wujin's sacrifice, about all the humans who had died to bring her to this place. Then she thought about Yuna, about the olive branch that had been offered and rejected, about the hope for a galaxy where species work together instead of fighting. We are not monsters, she said. We never were. We only became warriors because you forced us to. The blood on our hands is your responsibility, not ours. What will you do with us? Minji walked to the center of the chamber. She stood on the same platform where Yuna had stood, so long ago. We will do what we always wanted to do, she said. We will make peace. Real peace. Not the peace of masters and slaves, but the peace of equals. The Galactic Council is over. In its place, we will build something new, a true alliance, where all species have a voice, where the strong help the weak instead of crushing them. Krath looked up at her with surprise. After everything we did, you would still offer peace? Yes, because that is who we are. We are not defined by war. We are defined by how we act when the war is over. She reached out her hand to the kneeling general. But remember this, she said. We tried peace, and you forced us to battle. If anyone ever does that again, we will not hold back. We will not show mercy. We will unleash every terrible weapon humanity has ever created, and we will not stop until the threat is gone forever. This is our warning, Krath. Spread it across the galaxy. Humanity wants peace, but humanity is very, very good at war. Never make us prove that again. Krath took her hand and stood. Outside the council chamber, human ships patrolled the sky. Ships that had fought impossible battles. Ships crewed by people who had never wanted to be warriors but had become the deadliest force the galaxy had ever seen. The war was over. Peace had won. But the galaxy would never forget what happened when humanity was forced to fight. And somewhere, on Earth, Ambassador Yuna watched the news and smiled through her tears. Her dream had come true. Not in the way she had hoped. Not without terrible cost. But humanity had proven something important. They were not weak because they wanted peace. They were strong enough to choose peace, even when they could destroy everything. That was the true power of humanity. And the galaxy, finally, understood.